Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. It's been quite a few months since I've done one of these. This right now is going to be a solo podcast actually, just because I haven't gotten the opportunity to get anybody involved. I've actually been recently reaching out to a lot of players from the NWSL. I've been emailing. I haven't gotten any responses. I've gotten one response from the NWSL. Haley, I don't know how to pronounce her last name. Hopefully she won't see this video. I'll have to learn because she did respond to me. She did say she would be open to it, so that'll be awesome. But yeah, I've been emailing and the USWNT players as well. I haven't gotten any responses, but I'm just gonna keep my fingers crossed, and every once in a while hit them again with another email. Hopefully they'll respond. I do it like every few weeks, so it's not like harassment or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? I just want to speak my mind, because I can only type so much, and the opportunity hasn't been presenting itself to me though in the way I would like it to, because I don't sit down with somebody every week, and I don't have the ability to discuss with somebody this every single week, and it's hard because of time zones and all these other factors that go into making a podcast. For me, making one podcast is the toughest thing in the world, because I need to be available and they need to be available, and there can't be a language barrier. Sometimes that's an issue. Usually it's not, but it can be. It's potential. It's a very difficult process. So this is gonna be a one-on-one with just myself and I. So we're ending the year 2019. We're heading into the new year, 2020. It's going to be very, very odd. And there has been a lot of things going on with the USSF. A lot of things I want to say and get off my chest. I want to start with someone I always start talking about, because I think it's such an injustice to them. It's not fair to them at all that it even happened, and that would be Hope Solo. And I know Hope Solo's ship has sailed, and she's much older now, and the idea of her coming back and playing is very, very unlikely. But I think she deserves a retrial in the way where if the coach Vlatko, whatever his name is, wanted her back, he could get her. And I think the USSF, the United States Soccer Federation, really screwed her over, because she has made statements before she was suspended some years ago that they're not getting paid equally and that they should be. And she was the biggest advocate to getting paid equally, which obviously hasn't happened yet, which is really unfortunate. And she has reason to believe that was the reason her contract was terminated, because if you look at what happened and the reasons why her contract was terminated and she wasn't allowed to come back, I think it's very, very odd. Is she made a statement out of anger. She then redacted that statement, apologized to her teammates, to her head coach, Jill Ellis at the time, to the United States of America, which nobody listened to, which is unfortunate, to Sweden, Sweden's players, the national team, the head coach, and their federation, who accepted the apology. And the USSF still decided we're going to terminate Hope Solo's contract anyway, which in my mind, in my opinion, is really fucked up, because, dare I say it, I don't even dare if I say it, it's if a man were to say these things that she said, it would be a slap on the wrist. But since it was a woman saying it, it was you're terminated, you're not coming back. I think with the new opening of the equal rights, we have a chance to review Hope Solo's case. I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but there is definitely opportunity there, and I really hope that they take that and they move forward with it. Now, going on to the equal pay, if I could be afforded a moment of your time to tell a story. I mean, you're listening to this, so I'm assuming I have been. I read an article a few months back that stated the USSF has already declared the topic closed, that they weren't going to pay the women's team because their contracts state otherwise, their union doesn't allow it. And if that's true, then it's going to be really difficult to get it, because now the women's team needs to go wait for their contract to end and then renegotiate. But if they're unionized, that's never going to happen that way. It's going to be very difficult, because then their union has to go and say, hey, we are going to change everyone's contract. My biggest thing is, what I think they should do is, when their contract ends, don't unionize. I don't know if I don't know what the details are on that, but if they can become an independent contractor, and I've been saying this forever, I truly have been, but if the women's team can get an independent contract that states they can walk out, they have to get paid this much money, they need this or that, their travel will get paid for, that'll be absolutely phenomenal for all of them. But the sad truth is this is what I think is, it's never going to happen, because let's look at Tierna Davidson, who came right out of Stanford and went right to the national team. I'm very doubtful that she was like, I need to have an independent contract, so I will get paid what I'm worth. Because they're just a college student who isn't taking a law class. Not that it matters. If you don't have an understanding of law and how things work in the business industry, because you got to remember, there's advertisements involved, and there's other things, and there's third parties that isn't just the USSF involved that are giving them money other than the United States. Okay? A college student isn't going to understand that, and by the time they do, they'll be like Kelly O'Hara, where she just joined, when she joined the national team, and now it's 10 years, and she's going to law classes now to have an understanding of that. And I think that's a very, very good example of this, because, like I just said, she is now going to law classes to better understand why they're not getting paid equally, or to make change to that, which is absolutely great. But it might be too late for that if there's a union and they're not all independent contracts. It's very, very touchy. It's a very odd situation for them. And allegedly, I was like in a Twitter fight with somebody, and they were like, the women's team was playing victim of this, that, and this. And I was like, let me poke a million holes in your theory, bud. For those of you who think that the USSF is paying equal, I'll prove to you right now that they're not. Because if that was true, why wouldn't the United States Soccer Federation flat out go, here is what they're getting paid, end of story. We are paying them fairly. They haven't done that. That's how you can tell. They're coming up with excuses. So you know what? Anybody who thinks that they are getting paid equal, you're fucking wrong. I'm sorry. You really are. I have a lot of other things I want to talk about. Last month, this is December's 11th, I believe. It might have been the last or second to last game of the year, 2019, November. They had like the USSF president or some woman representing them. And she goes, yeah, eventually we want to get a woman coach in. Okay, so help me understand this. That statement pissed me off a lot, because all that means is that Jill Ellis retired. We brought in another coach, Vlatko, and we're now going to keep him who's very aggressively changing things. He's made mistakes that I've already gotten pissed off about, like taking Tobin Heath out of a game where she shouldn't have been pulled, and shaking up the entire roster, she makes a statement, we're going to look for a women's coach. So did you just hire this man to do the job for a few months and then you're going to fire him for no reason? I don't understand that. Like, what were they thinking when they did this? Why go on TV and make the statement? And I really feel like I'm the only person that picked up on this because I'm the only person talking about it, or I'm the only one with the cojones to talk about it because no one wants to think about it. And I understand if that's the case, people who are higher up than me don't have the power to make that statement. But I know I do because I'm a nobody. And when you're a nobody, you can say whatever you want and get away with it. And I understand that. And that's an important thing to understand. So if we see a new coach sometime in the next, I want to say 3 years, I honestly won't be surprised at all. I really won't be, just because, she said it was going to happen. And I don't remember this woman's name. I really wish I did. I tried to write it down, but they flashed it, which was fucking annoying. Yeah, so that. And then Dawn Scott, the thing that everyone got pissed off about and now no one is talking about. Are we really going to let the USSF get away with this one? Come on, people. If Dawn Scott, who's great at her job, she's now going to England, okay? She's going to England. If Dawn Scott is making a statement that says, I do not have the funds to pay for the equipment that I need to thus better the skills of the athletes to make them better to the product, which is going to bring in money for the USSF. That just shows how fucked up the USSF is being, how greedy the USSF is being, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. It really is, and it's a statement to the USSF where I have a theory that they're taking money and they're pocketing it from the women's team. And I think what happened last month with Dawn Scott absolutely proves this theory, because there's no reason that the USSF can't be paying for the equipment because they have the money for it. Why don't you stop pocketing it, you scumbags? You greedy scumbags. It's absolutely ridiculous. I can't believe it. And it's just ridiculous. Dawn Scott. So now Dawn Scott's so now we have a new, so let's review what's going to happen going into 2020. We have a new head coach who's changing everything. We have, I didn't bring up these topics, so I'm going to bring them right now. We have Alex Morgan, who's sitting on the bench pregnant. We have Kelly O'Hara, who might not be back for the Summer Olympics, who's injured. I think there's something wrong with Megan Rapinoe. And a bunch of other factors on top of that. Like Dawn Scott's gone, and the USSF still won't pay them equally. At what point, does the USSF look at this and go, okay, we've gone too far. We need to pay these ladies, which might not even be possible because of their contracts, unless they gave them the money under the table, which I would imagine they would. We need to pay these ladies. We need to get back Dawn Scott, who probably can't get back because of a contract she signed with England. Find a head coach that we're going to keep in there permanently and not just make a statement that says, we're going to look for a female head coach. It's the whole thing's a fucking mess. And it all can get traced back to the USSF because they're just fucking shit up left and right. And I really do have another conspiracy theory here. Jill Ellis left because of the USSF. I don't like Jill Ellis at all. People say she was an amazing coach. I disagree. I say Jill Ellis is a coach who won a lot of games because she had a team that could do incredible things with the ball. If you have a Megan Rapinoe, a Tobin Heath, an Alex Morgan, a Rose Lavelle, Alyssa Nair, and a Hope Solo, and a Kelly O'Hara, how the fuck do you lose? I'll tell you how. You don't. And that's why Jill Ellis is so praised, because she had these players, and no one looks at it as this is the team, not the coach. Jill Ellis made tons of bad decisions. Tons. Lots. But she'll still get the appraisal for it. But I think Jill Ellis left because the USSF. This is a theory, and I have no evidence to back it. That's an important statement. I have no evidence to back this statement at all, but I wouldn't be surprised if it came to be true, is the USSF was threatening Jill Ellis with something, or blackmailing her with something, or was threatening to cut her pay. And it would have been smarter for her to retire now opposed to later, where she wouldn't be making as much in retirement. I don't know if that makes sense. It's just, the whole thing is odd that she retired when she did, especially with something as big as the Summer Olympics coming up, because if I was her, I would say one more season. We're going to do the fucking Summer Olympics. We're going to win the Summer Olympics, and then I'll ride off into the sunset. Or maybe she just didn't want to lose the Summer Olympics and have it go on her. There's a multitude of things there, but I don't know for sure. I think that the USSF had something to do with her not finishing. You know what I mean? I think I've kind of said everything I wanted to say. So I hope you listened to this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please just, if you like this, if you like me doing one-on-one things, like just like myself talking, let me know in the comments, because I'll do more of them. I have a lot of things I like. I like to talk. I do. I love talking. That's something about me. I love to talk, and I'll do it more. Trust me. But I'll do more formats where it's just me by myself speaking in my mind, and I speak more clear because I'm not thinking a mile a minute, and I can slow down and say something. Because sometimes I slur my words. So yeah. So anyway, if you like this, leave a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel. I do plan on having more podcasts coming up. Like I said, I should have an NWSL player coming up. She asked if we could do it during the season. I said, of course, I'll remind you when the time comes. So hopefully I'll have an NWSL player on here. Hopefully I'll have a USWNT player on here, and hopefully that will kickstart this podcast and put me on the map, and that would be crazy cool. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed, and have a good rest of your holidays, and happy Christmas, happy Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, I don't know if they're the same or not, and happy New Year. Thank you.